But no, I'm down to fight. What do you think we disagree on? Let me think.
Uh-oh.
On the Ethan
I
thing?
mean,
What do you think about the Ethan thing? Is that what you were gonna fight on? Because you're a big Ethan
well, I
simp,
guess
right?
Happy birthday.
I was
Thank
trying
you.
to
Thank you. Thank
understand
you.
what your position was, because you were
Yeah.
Very nice.
regarding like the Ethan lawsuit. You were, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think your position was that he has standing. Because I don't know if I'm using that word right. I'm not a fucking legal person, but I think what you're saying
has
is
a
that
good
he has
case.
standing, but you didn't. He has a good case, but you didn't like the way he was positioning himself publicly. I think
Yep.
your issue was that he was framing it as like, I'm doing this for the greater good of like the YouTube
Yeah,
ecosystem
yeah.
and all that, when really it was just about like a petty grudge that he has.
Yeah, essentially, kind of. Yeah, the fact that he would.
Do you think this
Wait,
ruling
hang on.
will lead to
Sorry.
some
I just have a
natural-born
donation.
citizens without the means to litigate being
Do you think that
deported?
ruling will lead to some natural-born citizens without the means of litigate being deported? I think we'll ultimately get a class action, and that'll be prevented. So if I had to guess, the answer would be no to that. I don't think that will happen. But we'll see. We'll see. You basically got it. I take issue with him presenting himself as defending the reaction community, and I think that that's a completely
I have to lower the graphics.
bullshit
maybe.
rationale. And I think that the complaint is unhinged. Those were my 2 points, and people have completely lost it and started attacking me. And I think that that's just, it's on one sense funny. But I've said this entire time, I think he has a strong.
Food. Which way can people donate to you without giving a cut to the platform? Honestly, if you donate via Kick only takes 5%, but that is still like, that's still based on, that's still technically based on the platform. But if you want to, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know.
Case. So yeah, that's my position.
How much we disagree, but like I think it can be both. Like I think what happened with him is like he
Advanced nut juggle
this whole
physics?
thing really escalated to a new level like once CPS was called. And so like if you put yourself in his shoes.
Do you think there's any chance Pisco is acting in bad faith? Well, there's always a chance. There's always a chance for everything. But I think that Pisco has always made like artistic disagreements with Destiny before. So it is kind of in line with his character, to be fair, okay? But there's always a chance for everything.
And just imagine what that experience was like to have the government show up at your house and basically compel him and Gila to demonstrate to the state that they're capable of raising their own child. Like I'm sure that probably kicked him into a new kind of gear. And I was telling my chat, like I think it'd be one story if the CPS got called on his house and then like all the creators in the Hassan cinematic universe kind of all said to their own communities like, okay, this is going
Okay, it's too laggy. It's too laggy. It's too laggy.
too far. We need to take the temperature down a bit. That would have been one thing, but that's not what we saw happen. What we saw happen was, number one, they denied that it came from their communities, which was kind of crazy to me. Number two, they like doubled, tripled, quadrupled down. So like instead of saying obviously it's way too far to call CPS, we saw a lot of these same creators that were like, well, I don't know. I mean, he was talking about like dog poop and like I do think people have a right to be concerned about his kids and blah 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 blah. And I think like once they did that, he probably resolved in that moment to like really fuck with them.
Yeah. But I agree with that. But listen, I don't know. I think that some of them condemned it or said that they wouldn't do it. Maybe you're right that some of them kind of played cutesy about it or whatever. Which is, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with them calling it, and that's all cool. But you said something at the start, which I find to be the relevant part. Like I don't dispute that that's probably why he sued, had to do something with that or the previous grievances. That's my whole point. But you said it could be both. Yeah, it could be both, but it's not. I'm saying it's not. It's not both. It's one and it's not the other. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but I'm saying it's not one. That's my point. I'm not saying that it's...
You don't think you don't think that, for example, like you don't think that it's plausible for him to have seen their surely you agree that the lengths that they went, or the way that they went about reacting to his video was super malicious, right? Like I feel like we probably both agree on that.
If by malicious you mean they had a stated intention to steal money from him, then the answer is yes.
Yeah, the stated like they weren't even like coy about it. They weren't even subtle. They didn't try to use like code language. They just came out and said like, "Hey, watch it here so you don't give him
I agree
a view."
that they said that, and that would be a justifiable reason to go after them and not other people. On that I'm not disagreeing at all. That's not what I'm
right.
But my point is he's not trying to defend the React community. That's my point, and he holds himself out as doing that. And you don't.
Does this have to be the one point that Pisco wants to fight him on? Like why does this matter to him, I guess? Like why is this the one point that causes Pisco to be so against Ethan Klein? I mean, he can still point that out while being in support of it. But I mean, that's not even a part of his lawsuit, right?
Reject that, dude. He is holding himself as defending broadly the React community.
Well, I think he's like, my position is like it's plausible that he's doing both. Like that he felt personally aggrieved by these people in their communities, like and then like the Snark subreddit, because they were fucking fully psychotic and unhinged as well with the lengths that they were going to fuck with Ethan. So I think like he was personally aggrieved by these people in that way, but also like it's not totally implausible in my mind that he saw that the way that they went about reacting to his content was actually something that was worth clarifying with the courts.
All right,
because
so let's talk about that.
It is. Yeah, go ahead.
We agree on the one, that the personal grievance stuff. We don't need to talk about it anymore because we agree that that's at least partly motivating, and I think it's plausible that that's motivating him for sure. So totally agree on that. The only question is he trying to protect the React community? That's the rationale that I take issue with. And I guess the first question is, do you think he's trying to give that as a stated rationale, that this is about protecting the React community from an existential risk? That's the first question.
Did he say that it was about protecting the React community, or did he say it was about protecting like YouTubers' creations?
So this is what he said. I'm going to pull it up, what he said exactly. But in essence, actually, I'm just going to wait to actually pull it up. So H3, I'm suing these creators. H3, I'm suing. Boom. H3, I'm suing these 3 creators, and then we'll go directly to the transcript. I'm filibustering. Okay, one sec. All right, we got the transcript. Opening it up. I don't know, my computer's so slow.
He's just such a nerd.
I'm still filibustering. I'm talking to Phil Dead Air. I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm. You could be right, but I'm not. I don't remember his exact verbiage. I don't remember exactly what he said. But
so he said
to me, I felt like that the emphasis that he made was about like protecting content creators like himself and Lemino. Like, are you familiar with that situation? Like, there's this creator named Lemino who did I think like a 2-hour video on the assassination of JFK, and the video was doing quite well. And then I think like tons of other creators like XQC, Hassan, and a bunch of other people re-uploaded reactions to that video within like a day or two. And there was very minimal commentary. They basically just like let the video play. I don't want to speak about Hassan because I'm not sure what he did, but I know when it came to XQC, he basically it was just like he was just kind of staring at the screen every once in a while, going, Jet, oh my god. And then I think also in the case of XQC, I don't want to like slander anybody. I think what his thumbnail person did was make the thumbnail very similar to like Lemino's thumbnail. So I like my sense when Ethan was talking about
the fact that ReactGate discourse is back. Get me out. Okay, I thought we put this discourse behind us, but ReactGate truly is back.
Like protecting the ecosystem was more that he was like trying to protect the creators that make these videos that people are reacting to, and not necessarily like he was posturing to be the savior of the React community. I could be wrong.
This is quote. Yeah, so the quote that I keep going back to is the following. Though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars, but the purpose of this is not financial gain. People like XQC and Asmongold may have watched the entire thing, but I would never sue them just for doing that. and I'll go to the next part, but right there, you agree he's acknowledging that XQC and Asmongold are infringing on his work, right? Because he's saying that he could rake in millions of dollars suing them, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Okay. Then he says, but I would never sue them just for doing that. I don't want to chill the reaction community. That's broadly like the.
I'll tell you what is happening in Ethan Klein's mind. Okay. So Ethan Klein, does any of you guys understand why Ethan Klein thinks, at least to himself, that he is protecting the React community? Why do you think he thinks this way? Because he does lay it out, but I don't think he lays it out in a way that is well. All right. Basically, he's saying, okay, instead of waiting for some other big company to come in and drop a huge lawsuit against content creators, he's going to be the one to drop a lawsuit against content creators that he does not like, because he wants to set a precedent that by simply not suing people who have stated malicious intention and only suing people who have stated malicious intention, he is protecting people like XQC and Asmongold, therefore securing a precedence for who is innocent and who isn't innocent, right, of that. Now, the problem with that is that you can only create precedents to make someone innocent if I think their evidence is even presented in court in the first place, right? That's the problem. The problem, you're not really creating precedents, right? Like you can only create precedents once like the court rules a specific way, not when you exclude them out of your lawsuit, right? So technically you can't create precedents, but this is the argument that should be used, right? Because copyright is less of an issue to React community than reporting harassment, which Ethan received. I mean, sure, but beside that, right? Beside that, like, this is why the precedence with like, oh, I'm just saying I'm protecting, because as far as I'm concerned, Pisco and Hutch and Pisco agree on pretty much everything, right? Like they agree that Ethan Klein was motivated by spite, right? He is at least in part or in whole motivated by spite. He definitely has implied that he could have sued XQC and Asmongold for millions of dollars, right? He could have done it, but he didn't, or whatever. But it shows that, yeah, like, fuck, you know. Anyway, let's continue. We'll see.
I don't want to chill the reaction community. Interfere. Actually, the opposite. What's the opposite of chilling the reaction community? Interfere. It's protecting the reaction community, right? It's to make them more willing and apt to do reactions, right? And instead of,
or this will not even affect anything, or this will not affect anything.
Interfere is encouraging the reaction community, right? That's the opposite.
Couldn't you argue though? Couldn't you argue that his rationale could be that he's protecting them by setting publicly setting having a set of standards that protect people that react from this content from litigation?
Yeah, that's where he's going to go, and that's where we're going to go next. He says, actually the opposite. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that not only makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
To be fair, XQC and Asmongold makes reaction content look horrible. Okay, I'm sorry, they just do. Okay, they just make reaction content things seem horrible, but then, which is why you shouldn't be saying that, right?
Anyway. And then he references the potential of Sony and Disney suing. So he is saying that part of his reasoning, correct, is to protect the reaction community broadly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, because there are some people who are contesting whether or not he ever said that he wanted to protect the broader community. And this is what I take to be the disingenuousness. He says XQC and Asmongold should not be chilled. He doesn't want to chill XQC and Asmongold. Even though at the start of his own video, he says that it's an injustice when this happens, not just when it's intentional siphoning, but when XQC, one of the prime suspects, basically...
I know Hutch is my number 1 lib and learner, and Pisco is my 4th. I can't decide who is number 2 and number 3 among Josiah and Econoboy. Josiah is kind of nothing but inoffensive. Econoboy is zesty, but I might disagree. Econoboy also gives stupid takes from time to time, no? Like, I'm pretty sure Econoboy literally, fuck. I feel like, fuck. He has given some dumb takes, okay? To be fair. But Pisco's way too aesthetic. He's a little bit too contrarian, okay? Pisco's a little bit too contrarian for me. Alright? That's it.
Watches a whole video and gives no effort or no transformative anything into it. He calls that quote an injustice. Very famously, Ethan was having these massive debates with XQC saying, it's wrong what you do, XQC. It's an injustice what you do. You ought not do that. And it's very, everyone knows that, right? So this is the problem. He cannot say, or he should not say, or it's inconsistent for him to say, I want to not chill. I want to protect the thing I say is an injustice. That's the inherent disingenuousness. He's saying that he doesn't want to chill what he calls an injustice. But of course, why would you not want to chill what you're calling an injustice? Why would you want to protect the thing that you say should not be done? That's what's doesn't pass the smell test.
Bleh.
Well, I think I'm just trying to read between the lines here, but like, you could make the argument that like him going after these particularly egregious well, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if I'm qualified to call it egregious. I mean, I did see a bunch of lawyers react to it. It seems to be a consensus among
somebody told me their lawyer friends took a look at it and said that the lawsuit filing was fucking insane. So I fully believe that. Okay. If it's insane, then it's insane. All
lawyers. Right. You tell me if I'm wrong that Ethan has a pretty strong case, but
which I've never disputed.
I could be wrong. I mean, I feel
basically the consensus is that he has a strong case, but his specific court filing was horrible. Insane in what way? I don't know. Like in the middle of it, he's like describing someone as he's like using Dark Souls names for like the people that he's filing against, right? He's like, I don't know, like the inhaler of smog, or I don't know, like, and then posting like screenshots of like the timestamps and shit. Basically, it was like a schizo lefty document, like against Discord mods. All right, like that's what it looked like. It looked like a schizo Twitter, like Twitlonger document with like sporadic pictures thrown around for evidence. That's what it looked like. Is Pisco a lawyer? Yes, he is a qualified lawyer.
Like there were a lot of like pretty neutral legal YouTubers that were opining on this, saying that he has a really strong case, but like
which I've never disputed.
I feel like, you know, if you're Ethan, you know, you could look at this as a way to sort of steer reactors in a better direction. So like through his like lawsuit litigation with Denims and Frogan and them, you know, maybe this leads to people like Asmongold and XQC starting to adopt like certain standards.
No. He's saying I would never sue themselves. He's saying I would never sue XQC and Asmongold. He's saying he doesn't want to change what they do.
He said he would never sue them for the kind of React content that they were doing, but that was separate from the kind of React content that Denims and Frogan were doing.
No, I acknowledge that. Well, different in the sense that one has a stated malicious intent, the other doesn't. But he's literally saying, I would never sue XQC and Asmongold. I would never go after them, even though he acknowledges that what they're doing is an injustice. So why would you, at the start of the video, he says it's an injustice and that XQC is one of the, quote, prime suspects. And he's on record saying that what XQC does is wrong. And so why would he say something like, oh, I wouldn't want to chill them. I wouldn't want to change their content. He's trying to say, I don't want to change what XQC and Asmongold are doing. Part of his rationale isn't to change what XQC and Asmongold are doing. It's to preserve and protect what XQC and Asmongold are doing. That's what doesn't make any sense.
That's not how I interpreted what he said. He didn't say.
I think Pisco is right here. I think it's absolutely to protect and defend what Asmongold and XQC were doing. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, fuck, we can't watch this whole thing. I'll tell you guys what. Okay, tomorrow we'll come back to this link. Okay, when I am not lethargic and when I'm not fucking recovering from all this shit. Okay, from eating too much. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I told you guys it was going to be a short stream, okay? It was literally going to be a short stream.